And I thought I'd never have to deal with that damn airport issue again. When I went door to door, it was one of the top 5 issues. All right, growth, how to stop all this traffic on Main Street, airport expansion, the aquatic center was a big thing back then, and so it's still a big deal today. When this was first brought to me, I was approached by my coworker and he said, "Hey, I want to do this." I thought, well, maybe we're being a little too political here. After all, I wasn't elected to Heber City Council, and Heber City is the entity that gets to actually vote on it. It's their airport. But then, on the other hand, I'm asked about the Heber City Airport more than all other issues combined. People come up to me from all over and they say, "What are you going to do about the Heber City Airport?" And I said, "Well, that's Heber City's airport. What can we do really?" And so I think we're trying to address some of that tonight. When we ran for city council, Heidi and Kelly, you remember we had a debate on the radio. And Bob, I went and found it. You had the recording still online. And I listened to it today. And Heidi, you talked about the same things you said today. We need to be a good neighbor to Daniels. We need to be concerned about these federal strings that are attached to any money that we take from the federal government. And that the money from the airport does not go into the general fund. It doesn't help Heber City in that way. That's what you said at the time, and you said the same thing today. Colleen, you said the same thing. We need to be careful about federal streams. And then you and I talked about this a lot. We still need to study it to find out what is the economic impact. And other people brought that up as well. So we're still in the same place we were 3 years ago when we were running for city council. And that's frustrating for you guys, I know, because I've talked to you about it. The other thing that kind of, in 2003, Ron Crittenton, you talked about how we had all of these public hearings and how the public was just dead set against expanding the airport. So how is it that if the public said that back in 2003, are we in 2016 still facing the same imminent issue? Is it because of growth? Is it because we've gone through multiple mayors, multiple city council members? Alan McDonald, the mayor, when he ran, that was the same time that I was running for city council. And you guys remember, he was against airport expansion. Jeff Smith and Jeff Bradshaw are in Heber City Council. They said they're not in favor of expansion. Ron, you're not in favor of expansion. Heidi, you're not in favor of expansion. Kelly, you're still trying to get your head wrapped around the issue, but you're serious about learning it. So how is it that this issue keeps coming up? Where did we first find out? Mark, you've been here the longest, you know, probably. Where did it come up? Because Ron's saying that it's not true, but maybe there's conflicting documents in the FCC or FAA regulation stuff all over the place. So where did it first come up that if Heber City doesn't comply, that they're going to lose their funding? Do you know where that first came about, Mark? Do you remember?
Mark, can you go up to the podium, please? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mark. I'm driving the bus now.
I should stay home. You know, I think the conversation, the dialogue about what are the consequences of not addressing the aircraft, the safety of the aircraft that are currently using the airport, has become to the forefront in the last few years. And that's because the operations of those types of aircraft have dramatically increased.
So is this something that snuck up on us over time from 2003
to
today?
I think it's fair to say that 15 years ago, the FAA was saying, you know, we would support the upgrade of this airport. We see it as a valuable asset to the region, and any aircraft that doesn't have to land at Salt Lake or Provo is less expensive. It's less expensive to expand here than it is in Salt Lake or Provo, and so they think that's a benefit to the system as well. But as the issues become more and more evident that it needs to be addressed, the conversation is becoming more and more, well, so what are the consequences if the city chooses not to go C2? And I mean, recent conversation with a member of the FAA says, you know, we are concerned about the safety of the airport. We want to see a master plan update that addresses the safety issues of this airport. How are you going to address the safety of this airport? And I know Lander, Wyoming and Burley, Idaho are some airports that come to mind that are having some of these same conversations. And they're intimating that if the city doesn't choose to address the safety issues, that they'll cease to get discretionary funding support from the FAA.
So do you have an idea of what that's going to be per year? What would be the penalty if we said absolutely no? Do you have a guess?
I'm reluctant to do that. I'm guessing it's a couple $100,000 shortfall over a period of time. I mean, it comes in waves. You know, I don't see, there's no capital projects scheduled in the next few years. There's a master plan, there's an environmental assessment, if the proposal is to go to a C2 airport, and then it talks about land acquisition and construction in 2022, 2023.
As was alluded to earlier, does anybody have that statement in writing?
I don't know, I had something from John Sweeney, who's the airport planner here recently.
Airport planner for the FAA?
Out of the Denver office. So I think strongly alluded to that. I've shared that with the city council.
Did he put it in
Well, he
writing?
alluded and telling the regulation that the Congress could look at that we can do that. That's what I want to see. They've alluded that we couldn't move the threshold, we had to buy Maverick. And yet if they move that runway, they're going to move the threshold. So I can show you the paragraph where it says they can move the threshold. They just chose not to, so they pick and choose. Yes, their job, FAA's job is to build airports.
They're building capacity for the system.
And that's their job, that's fine.
And this is an important airport to the system. We probably have the 7th most operations in the state of Utah, airport-wise. And we have a lot of itinerant traffic from all over the United States.
Okay, as the Heber City manager, do you think it's, or do you know, do you think it's in Heber City's best interest, financially or otherwise, to expand the airport?
Well, I'm going to bail out and just say, I think it's in our best interest to collect the data and analyze what our options are and make an educated decision. It's not a great position to be in where we're at right now. It seems like we're picking between two choices that neither one are that desirable. So I would be an advocate for completing the process and understanding the data and doing the best, making the best decision based on the information that comes out of it.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Thank you. Just to continue, I wanted to say thanks to Heidi and Kelly. Another thing that we all said when we ran for city council years ago was that we were going to try to work together. There was a bad relationship between Heber City and Wasatch County. Thank you guys for coming, because this is not a comfortable thing. I know that there was a couple members of Heber City Council that liked that we were having this information meeting. There was a couple members of Heber City Council that were a bit offended. Like, how would we feel if they held a public hearing on JSSD or the phone palace? I think that that's something we can work through. Yeah, no doubt. I think this has been a really good meeting. But as we move forward, Mr. Chairman, I think one of the recommendations that I would give is that we call a joint meeting with Heber City over the next month or so, have an airport discussion as part of on the agenda. And here's the other thing, and if Heber City can find this out before then, that would be great, is what actually is the penalty or the punishment? How much money are you going to have to come up with if you don't expand? If you can find that out, I know that's a hard thing. How you've been working on it for a couple of years.
That's part of the information we gathered in the feasibility.
You don't have it?
You see, we don't know what kind of repairs would be entailed over the next 5 to 10 years. We can guesstimate based
Right.
on the past, but you know, it depends. I'm hearing from airport board members that when those larger planes land, they don't leave immediate marks. It shows up years later.
Right, it
So
goes
who
over
knows
time.
when it's going to really just, you know.
But what it comes down to, if there's going to be a financial penalty to Heber City, and this is really for the Heber City residents because they have to pay for it, all right, of which I'm one. if we don't expand and the FAA takes funding away from us, and there's some requirements because of past Heber City councils have agreed that they're going to keep the airport operating to a certain level, then that means Heber City is going to have to come up with that money somewhere. All right? Hold on. And so they're going to have to come up with that money somewhere. So it's either going to be your taxes go up, they're going to have to increase fees, but there's only a limit to the fees that they can go up. Or would the residents of Wasatch County, and this is a big act, would the residents of Wasatch County be in favor of Wasatch County transferring some TRT money? I don't think anyone, this is an election year, so nobody here is going to jump on this one. Do the residents of Wasatch County want us to increase their property taxes, to pay Heber City, to not expand the airport, to keep it functional to the level that it's at?
Why don't you just give us the airport?
Is that something that you guys want to do? Because if you do, you need to let the guys know
We'll take care of that.
this year that are running, because that's really that's the dilemma Heber's in. If the FAA takes that money away, then how is Heber City going to afford to pay for it? And so if as some of Ron's research has said, if there is no penalty, fine, we're great. We've got it decided, but we've got to find out. Okay.
Don't quote me of saying there is none. I'm saying nobody has defined it. Nobody has shown me a statute anywhere where they can do it. Kristen of the FAA says, we're not going to make you do anything, but we want you to do the study, and the study's to expand.
Right, and as you said,
But they won't take, we get the $150,000 entitlement money, we will keep getting as long as we've got an airport. But it won't do a $3.5 million service.
right, but it's difficult to get that information because, as Dave said a couple of times, is that you'll have some information from the FAA here and then seemingly
But that's why I asked the congressional delegation to help us get to those answers.
I'm sorry, Kelly.
I was going to say, there's also some potential revenue from the airport, like maybe increasing the FBO fees, also business opportunities. Those are, another FBO, some of those things that we're trying to work on, increasing land fees that may bring more money into the airport, so it's hard to know the exact numbers until we can see if there's an opportunity to do that.
And
Well, there is an opportunity, but it hasn't been done.
I'm sorry, but that's what you said 2 years ago. What you're saying today is we've got to research, and that's what Mark said. Is we made, and Tracy, I'm sorry, I'm speaking. Tracy was saying, well, if everybody's against expansion in Heber City Council and the mayor, then why do we want to spend $300,000 to find out if we want to expand or not? I think what Mark is saying, what Colleen is saying, is that we need to find out exactly where those numbers are and what is it going to cost us if we don't. And then how are they going to make up the difference? So that's where we're at. If you're Wasatch County residents, not Heber City, but Heber City as well, please let everybody know on the county council if you would be in favor of us increasing your property taxes to help offset some of this loss that people would take in their general fund to have to pay for expansion there or continuing to operate the airport. But I think those are the options that we have. There was a gentleman there.
I was just going to say, it seems like a lot of people that benefit from our airport are the people on the other side of the mountain, and maybe we should just send them the bill.
No, I don't know how we would force them to collect it, because I've had that idea as well.
Trump has some ideas on that.
Let's put a wall up.
I think the reality is we could explore the concept of having financial participation from Summit County.
No, I don't know why you couldn't.
But you have to realize that if you give up some of your power, they're not going to come. They'll want a seat at the table if you want their participation. And sure, they want an airport.
I'm not sure that's true, Mark. I'm not sure that's true, because they have a tremendous financial impact. They have a tremendous financial benefit to our airport.
Yeah, but I was told only 10% of their traffic goes through our airport. And
Okay.
they don't really think that it's going to
But
impact.
I know that...
From who?
And I know that entities that exist in Park City who are in favor of airport expansion contribute a lot of money to some people's Heber City campaigns. And they do that. They do that because they're going to have a financial impact. It's going to impact them positively. That's why they're doing it. Right. But that's so we know that's true. Steve, you ready?
Councilman Farrell.
Well, I appreciate the information that was given here today. I learned a lot about the airport, probably more than one. But I don't like the idea of being held hostage by the FAA. They throw this money around pretty freely with some strings attached. And, you know, the FAA is the only one that does it. We got it with the sewer farm, with the land and federal land and water fund. We can't change the use of that, but we have to pay the money back. So it's a catch-22. But before we go much further, I think we ought to have an economic business plan to kind of outline where the benefits are and how we're going to obtain them. Because, you know, there's no sense having an airport if nobody gets any benefit out of it, and if it's going to cost us money. And I think that would be the first step, to lay it out and see just where is it possible to make money on this area.
We asked that question of our 3 applicants, and the FAA, if I'm right, won't fund that study. They'll fund the finance of the runway.
We've probably got enough information after all these years of operation to be able to come up with an idea.
We may have to pay for it ourselves someday.
You may have to, or come up with some kind of idea.
Danny's going to help us get it out of the county.
Well, Danny is talking for himself.
That's true. I am talking for myself, but I do represent the Huber North District. And it impacts us all. That's why we're here as the county council, having a public information meeting that started as a public hearing, talking about the impacts of the airport on all of us. And so maybe that's something we can discuss, in our joint meeting, that maybe we can help them. I think that's a good direction to go.
I mean, like it's been said, we're probably the 5th fastest growing county in the
It keeps going up every time somebody talks.
Oh, 7th.
We were 7th last week.
7th or whatever. Because they're coming here, people are coming here not to get for the lifestyle. They come here to enjoy and raise their family. And we keep growing like this and expanding, we're going to lose a rural lifestyle. And the characters that makes this community such a good place to live. And that's what concerns me. And I know it's a hard decision for Heber City. But you got to put a pencil to it and see if it's worthwhile.
Thanks, Steve.
Everything I have written down has been said. Economic value, where are the numbers? Do we really want this? If we don't want this, there's no sense in spending money, in my opinion. If that's overwhelming. So maybe it takes a ballot initiative or something to see where we're at and then go from there, because if we don't want it, I don't see any reason to spend the money and then we figure out how we're going to replace any funding or revenue with the fees. I will say this, my grandparents' grandparents are from here. I've been here forever. My dad served on the city council in the 70s. So I have a passion. I understand everyone's passion. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, you folks who put this. I learned more tonight about the airport in 2 hours, 2.5 hours than I think any of my family members who lived here forever have known about the airport. So thank you. Appreciate that. And just the things that Steve and Danny have hit on.
I have to be careful because I wear my feelings on my sleeves, but it seems like the south end of the valley is being pushed and pushed and pushed. I've had really good friends displaced because of the airport, personal friends. We've got the transfer station, we've got the gun club, we've got the gravel pit. I agree with what Danny said. I agree with Steve. I agree with everybody. I do appreciate Mark. Thank you for coming. And it's not easy. I know that, but thank you. And I appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you. There are so many things that need to be determined, and we can't do it in one night. And I know that once the FFA gets started talking to people, it won't stop. It'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I don't think we'll have much to do about it. That's my opinion. But I do think that an initiative would be good. I think we need to find out if we're even going to make any money. but I think there's been enough said, but I appreciate all you guys coming too. Thanks.
I just add that, thank you for coming, especially to Heber City Council and Mark. I know when I started this, I've been on council a long time, and I've watched and heard a lot about the airport from the outside, realizing Heber City is the main manager of it, and had very little to say, but as a council, we represent everybody that's not Heber City, if not Heber City residents too, because they're Heber County. We do have a little bit of clout if we use it. I admit I was here to learn, and definitely have done that. But I do want to pledge that the council is going to stay involved in this, and if this goes on, because anything that happens is going to affect us and people we represent, and that was the intent of it. And I'm thrilled with the turnout. I expected we'd have 3 or 4 people here and have a cozy discussion, and I'm glad to hear it. It was never meant to be an offense to Heber City Council. I knew you guys managed it, gave us for information. If it's made you uncomfortable, join the crowd. It's probably not going to get easier, but we're going to be involved. So I'll leave it there.
I don't want to speak. I'm glad you came, Kelsey, okay? But one of the things she said to me today as I met with her earlier, she can pull our delegation together. Every one of them made a commitment to me. I asked her to spearhead that for us, but she can't go do that unless there's a sense that we don't want to expand unless we have to. And I honestly don't know any quicker way to get